we're going to go live. Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your viceroy of verisimilitude, your sommelier of cinema, and of course, your pharaoh of physical media, Robert Meyer Burnett, and welcome to the second live show and our seventh regular show of Let's Get Physical Media. And I can't do this show if I didn't have, well, the best German I know. I didn't know that there was such a thing as having the best German you know until this year. One of the great benefits of COVID was finding this gentleman all the way from Saarbrücken, Deutschland, Mr. Dieter Bastian. How are you?
Good evening and greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Dieter here I am, rock you like a hurricane, and welcome to the B&B Motel of Physical Media. Unfortunately, Bill Hunt has left the presidential suite, but even you pure streamers, can visit now and have that room this evening for you. Rob, what do we have tonight?
Well, first of all,
At least it's tonight here in Germany.
I got to ask you, at the B&B Motel, can you check in whenever you want, but you can never leave? Is that what happens there?
Probably. If you cross the threshold to be in a junkie, then you can never leave.
Well, I have to ask you, did you have a big week this week? Was this a hard-hitting week? You know, you're not supposed to buy yourself anything the week before Christmas. I guess this was the week before Christmas.
It was a good haul, I would say. And I'm really ghibli, Rob, because I had made my last shift on Friday, so I'm in vacation mode until next year.
So all you have to do is watch physical media.
Definitely.
By the way, nice shirt you have on.
Yes, because I buy you stuff. And didn't I come through for you, Rob? And all I wanted was that blue laser disc shirt, and you said, no, it's not for sale. So I got myself another blue T-shirt for me.
When you started 2020, did you think you would end the year with your 80s face on a T-shirt?
No, that is something that was born out of COVID.
I know.
And your need for physical media from all around the world.
I feel bad because we should have merchandised this before Christmas so other pure streamers could have had the fun of giving their loved ones T-shirts of the Let's Get Physical Media show with Burnett and Bastian.
It's not too late.
It's not maybe
they're
not in the new year.
They're not limited.
Oh, no, they're very limited. They're very special. Well, I think, I wouldn't be surprised if you want me to start, if you and I... do you want to start? We have a letter. What do you want to do?
Should we start with the letter?
Sure.
I would say I start with the usual stuff because this is your favorite part of the show, Rob.
It really
the stuff
is.
That is going to Pasadena.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's become a tradition. You're going to send the things. You're going to show the things that you got from.
The Yellow album, Dolby Atmos edition.
Wow.
For Bill and one for you. Okay.
Now we should explain that Yellow. Yellow is, of course, everybody remembers Yellow from their song.
Oh yeah.
But I've been a Yellow fan for a long time, and one of the first CDs I bought back in the 80s, it was an import CD. It was basically Yellow's greatest hits, and people are like, they have more hits than one. Yes, Yellow is a very prolific band. They put out a lot of records, and one of the first CDs I ever bought, I want to say it was on Virgin. It was called the new Mix in One Go, and that's where I became really familiar with their oeuvre. And I bought Yellow records. One of my favorite records is an album they put out called The Race, and really, really, really great. So it's a German duo, and they're pioneers of electronic music and synth music. And now you said that their new album, which I was unaware of, is out in Dolby Atmos, which that makes me ghibli.
It should, Rob. It sounds reverence. This is demo stuff through and through, without hesitation. Next one that I got for you. You wanted this?
Oh, the Running Man. Look at that box, man. Hang on. Let me get into a close up, Dieter. Show us the folks at home. Let's look at that.
This is still sealed because it's yours. I don't have mine. to show what it was like.
Wow.
That can people see on episode 6.
Yes, you will see that on episode 6. That is beautiful.
This is still closed.
Now, is that German? Is that a German release?
Yes, this is German.
Is it a media book or is it a steel book? What is that?
Oh, it's a steel book. A steel book with the
O-ring.
With the O-ring.
Nice.
Correct. Where you can see through. I've showed you this.
I love when they do that.
And is Elizabeth watching? I hope not.
I don't think she watches this show, but you never know. She's more interested than ever, so maybe she is.
Elizabeth, if you're watching, I'm only here to follow orders. If you say, get me this stuff, I don't ask why he needed this for the 3rd time.
You know, Dieter, as a German, when you say that you're just following orders, that's a bad look in this day and age. You might get canceled for that.
Probably. So,
wow.
Rob, your crash is here from Arrow.
You know, Arrow is one of my favorite companies. Look at that. It comes with a book. These Arrow special editions, one of them, again, I had ordered from Amazon here, and Amazon said they had no release date. And for a certain disc that came out this week. So you know what? I jumped on over to Diabolic DVD, and I'm like, I hope they have a copy left. And lo and behold, they did. They were down to like the last 6. I am not happy with Amazon lately. I don't like ordering things and not having them there. But we'll talk about that in a minute because you probably have it and I don't. But we'll see.
We'll see. So this is the stuff that I've got for you. Should we switch over?
Well, thank you, my friend. Well, I don't know. You want to? I think I would imagine if I know you, I think there's a disc we could probably both show at the same time.
Probably. Wait a minute.
Should we try that? Should we try it and see if I'm right?
Yes. Wait.
Let's see how much. Let's see how well I know you. Ready? Show me mine. Show me yours. Okay. So is that looks like a steelbook?
Yes, mine's a steelbook too.
Yeah, I like your cover better. This is a steelbook. This is the Best Buy special edition, the 4K steelbook, and then on the back we have Denzel Washington. We have John Washington here.
It's a little bit.
Yeah, I like yours better, but it's cool that there's multiple steelbooks now. As a collector, Dieter, do you feel the need to get TENET in multiple formats just to collect all the titles or collect all the covers?
Since we have the 4K, the Blu-ray, a bonus discs, and already a steelbook.
Me neither. And I
don't think another edition would be necessary.
It is a 3-disc edition. Now I haven't really delved into this. One of the discs is
like you see, I have the bonus disc in the player. I don't have to.
Have you watched
the documentary?
Yeah, that's
through and through.
I haven't watched it. I'm really excited. Have you watched any of the special features?
Just the documentary, but only the first 40 minutes.
Wow,
There's
okay.
Still 30 minutes left.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to that.
We got TENET, and I hope Elizabeth we will get an Elizabeth show.
Yeah, probably between Christmas and New Year's, because now that Elizabeth is done with her finals, tonight we're starting with Die Hard, and we're going to talk about probably every day leading up to Christmas movies. So,
and considering we were talking about Elizabeth, look what I got, Rob.
Ooh, you got your. Have you watched it yet?
I have watched it, and like you, I liked it. I was a little bit too hyped up considering the reviews of the movie.
Yeah, me too.
And I know there's always the saying, the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes doesn't matter, but let's face it, this is not a movie that will be review bombed. So
No.
the audience score is around 60, which for me is saying for the mainstream audience really close how the movie comes in.
Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Were you shocked by the explicit violence and the sex?
Yes, this was really tough stuff. So I think this will have a problem to get an 18 here without any cuts.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But considering this one, now I'm really would like to have The Hills Run Red uncut. But there was some producer I heard through the grapevine who said to his director he had to cut stuff just to play ball with the studio. So tell us a little bit about that nasty stuff on The Hills Run Red that has not seen the light of day because it has to be cut to get an R-rated.
Wow, that's a little low blow coming from a German who just said he was following orders. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, look, when we were making The Hills Run Red, and by the way, one of our shows that we're going to be doing, because there's really nothing coming out in the next couple weeks, so I would like to take a week off, but I think we should do a show. I haven't even talked to you about this. We mentioned it, but doing our best of the year. And
Okay.
one of I know my best of the year is The Hills Run Red on Blu-ray, because we didn't ever have it on Blu-ray, and we were, as I've told everybody ad infinitum, that yes, you can now get The Hills Run Red, a movie I produced back in 2008 on a very special edition Blu-ray from Scream Factory, and it is chock-a-block full of over 6.5 hours of new special features, and with the special features already there, you get 8 hours. And yes, the reason, look, when we made the film was going in, it as it was conceived and written, it was very anti-politically correct. It had extreme sexual violence in it. Maybe not I spit on your grave sexual violence, but considering it was a monster doing that, doing the raping, the studio said, we're never going to release this movie in its present form. And rather than have Dave and I kicked off of it, the director Dave Parker and I said, nope. We're there to play ball. We have to play ball with the studio. The movie's still pretty rough, and I'm proud of it, because it is what it is, but I think it has a reality to it that a lot of other horror films, it doesn't delve into the fantasy realm. It really is what was called the genre of the 80s, splatterpunk. It really is a splatterpunk movie, but it does have a lot of philosophy in it too about what is art. I know I'm making more of it than it is, but I think that if, say, a 15-year-old girl, because the female audience has grown for horror over the past 20 years, and if, say, you're a female girl and you were a fan of either the two guys that were in it, and you're like, oh, Mom, here's a movie, a horror film with cute guys or whatever, I want to buy it, and then you take it home and there's horrible incest and horrible rape, I don't think that would have been the best thing for either the studio or us. I mean, actually, Dave and I would have loved it, but it would have killed what bit of a career we still have left. So, but that was, I do feel that when you're making a film, that it is important. The studio is your partner. The people that have greenlit the movie and put up the movie, they're your partners. And we were working with producer Joel Silver and his Dark Castle Entertainment and Warner Premiere, which was at the time the direct-to-video division of Warner Brothers. So we as filmmakers also have an obligation to our partners and financiers. Filmmaking is certainly the collision of art and commerce. Now, I don't feel that the original intent of the movie was all that compromised. I think it's still there. I think that it wasn't like somebody asked us to fundamentally change something. Like, for instance, can you imagine if, say, someone on Star Trek were to take a beloved episode like City on the Edge of Forever that has a time portal that's part of ancient ruins, and then decided to go back to the original version of the script and make it an ambulatory guy that can make this ruin appear at will on one planet or another? I mean, if somebody did something like that, it would be completely abhorrent and fly in the face of the Star Trek franchise and ruin 54 years of beloved material. It's not like we did that. Did we?
No.
Just saying, because
I forgot. Perhaps it will get through with an 18, considering, like you said, more of an art house type of movie that gets a little bit easier.
Well, there is two versions of that. There is Possessor Uncut, and then there is just the standard version. So,
yeah, right.
and I haven't seen the standard version, but I have to tell you, I was quite taken aback with how extreme the movie is.
And I don't know, Rob, Tenet in UK is cut a little bit.
Yeah.
Even on home video. Even on home video, they have released a little bit. It's not that much, but it's a little bit cut in the UK, Tenet.
It doesn't matter. You can't hear it anyway. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. So I got my Possessor Uncut. And no, we will not be talking peen or anything else here.
Although there's a wrecked peen in it, and that was shocking. Elizabeth liked that.
That is probably not in the R-rated version, I
No,
think.
no, I wouldn't imagine it is.
So, Rob, since we are still lacking episode 5 and 6, you put me in a nice spot
I did?
because this week I got stuff that you already shown on the show we recorded. But now I will be the first to show this stuff. Like the Top Gun 4K Blu-ray, Steelbook that you already showed me because the US stuff.
Yes, but that episode drops today, and wait till you see what I did with that section when we talk about that Blu-ray.
Running a little bit late on the US stuff. Collateral. So we got the Tom Cruise stuff out of the way. And the Mad Max 4K from
So
Kino
good.
Lorber has reached me. So
Yeah, you just stole my thunder from episode 5, which hasn't dropped yet. But what are we gonna do?
So lucky this episode is going up live. So I switch over to Europe. So we switch it a little bit more back and forth. I still have stuff to show.
Well, finally, from I did get it was a canceled order that I was able to rescue. I did get the Blade
nice.
4K Steelbook from Best Buy, and obviously I love Blade. I think it really holds up, and I think it's the unsung Marvel movie that really brought the idea back. And it's it's a 2-disc set. It comes with a digital copy. And it's pretty beautiful. And I am not a steelbook collector. I know a lot of people are because I used to collect DVD and really cool packaging, but if a 4K disc comes in a steelbook, like I've always believed that if the packaging adds to the value of the film for me, like if a Stanley Kubrick movie comes out, like Full Metal Jacket or The Shining, it's like, okay, I'll get the steelbooks of those. And it's kind of fun, in the different places, whether it's Zavvi or whether it's Best Buy or whoever has their exclusive steelbook, you can find which one is the best, or maybe if you want to get all of them, you can do that too. But usually I buy a steelbook if I know that I'm not going to scour the world finding every version of Blade that's out there. I only need one Blade. And if it can come in a steelbook version, that's good enough for me, because I like Blade. Who
doesn't?
Yeah, who doesn't? By God! And then the next disc I got is a movie that an ex-girlfriend of mine produced, "The Dark and the Wicked."
Nice.
And this is Brian Bertino, who directed The Strangers. Directed this film, and I have not seen it. And I heard that it is quite good. And, of course, to support my friends, I always buy their movies. And so I'm excited to see that. Now, you had ordered that as well, didn't you?
I pre-ordered that as well. So it was a little bit unfortunate when you told me you got me a copy.
Well, it's okay. You know what? For our year-end, our next episode, we have one to give away then.
Wait.
We will give away to our viewers, we'll give a copy of The dark and the wicked away. So do you want to show another one, or would you like...
For me, it was a Cat in the Bag. Looked good. Okay. Looks nice. Perhaps I have seen a trailer. Don't know. Okay. For me, Rob, it finally came. Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
So, Lord of the Rings set. It's still packaged. So I've got them both and will give it a look.
You know, a lot of controversy has arisen about the transfers. But it's, you know, it's interesting. I mean, I watched some videos that had very compelling arguments, but it's few and far between. I'll be curious. Yes, there was some artifacting that shouldn't have got by, but it does look spectacular. And I've read a lot of people say how great the transfers are. And it, you know, it's a different. To me, my whole idea behind video transfers, like there was controversy, for instance, when William Friedkin did a transfer of The French Connection, and he came in and substantially digitally altered the color and turned it into, in my mind, it was unwatchable because it became artificial. And to me, The French Connection was one of the great examples of verisimilitude in the early 70s. So I think if you play with something too much in post and change it from its original intent, but they've talked about how they wanted to caress The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings into looking like a more cohesive whole, because obviously The Hobbit was shot with different cameras and different techniques, and it was high frame rate. So to me, it doesn't bother me that they did that, because I think the intent was something that was always there. They wanted all 6 of these movies to feel that they were part of one thing. What does bother me is when there's actual mistakes. Like there's the shot that I saw online where you can see Shadowfax's ear, Gandalf's horse. His ear appears in a frame where the rest of the horse isn't there. It's a frame rate issue. It's a digital artifact issue. Those kinds of things should be taken care of. To me, that's a QC issue that should have been caught in the render stage or the transfer stage. And those mistakes, I think, are unforgivable. And I know the disc has a few of those. But then again, the fact that it was a Herculean effort to do these new transfers in the first place, the Atmos sound, by all intents, reporting is incredible. So, you have to take the good with the bad, and if there's more good than bad, but I'll be curious to hear what you think.
And let's face it, the movies don't run only 80 minutes.
Right,
So-
they don't.
So they are a little bit longer. Another movie that I got this week, haven't watched it yet. It comes from the producers of Escape Room. It's the movie Follow Me. So it looks like a little bit like something like Escape Room, but I haven't seen it.
And that's 4K. That's a German release in 4K. I don't know if that came out. Uh-oh, Dieter. You've turned into the Riddler. I expect a question. He went away. I'm going to have to reconnect him. I bet Dieter hit a button. Well, I guess I'll just talk without him. This is the problem with live television. You just never know what's going to happen. He is coming all the way from Saarbrücken, Germany, and I'm sure he's back. He's back. You are back. Hang on there. Hang on. I'm putting you back. You are back.
I'm back, people. So we still haven't missed anything. I got Follow Me.
It's great. I mean, I don't think that's a movie they would have put out in America in 4K. I mean, maybe they would.
It's really surprising to me also. Those little titles, getting a 4K release here, it's always a good thing for me. And then, finally, Tremors.
Okay, now this is...
4K.
Again, Arrow does a spectacular job with their limited releases, and these are truly limited releases. If you don't jump on these right away, that's why this was at Amazon, and I had ordered this way in advance, and then Amazon couldn't give me a release date, and they said they didn't know when they were going to get them in. And in the meantime, I know that if you don't get those Arrow special editions right away, they disappear very quickly. So thank you to Diabolic DVD for having 6 copies in. I bought that and the Indicator Road games, which I'll show when I get it. But thanks to them, I was able to get that. I can't wait. Tremors in 4K. Tremors is it's such a delightful horror film. I have such fond memories of seeing it. Obviously, it spawned many sequels. It's such a great film, and that Arrow package looks to be amazing.
And for me, since the Blu-ray was not good from the picture quality, so I'm really looking forward what that new transfer is going to be like.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So, will you go, Rob? I still have stuff.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Switch it up.
My beloved Vinegar Syndrome. Vinegar Syndrome is a low budget company. Lower budget. I don't know if they're low budget. They don't ever put stuff out on the cheap. They do a wonderful job with a lot of obscure skin flicks, horror movies. I bought my first Vinegar Syndrome title was their beautiful remaster of Slava Sukerman's Liquid Sky, which came out a couple years back, and that was something I never thought I would see. And then they followed that up with a release of the Australian exploitation film Body Melt, that I showed a horrible VHS version of a VHS rip on DVD to Elizabeth that she still teases me about. but Vinegar Syndrome put it out on Blu-ray. Now, this is a film I really loved. They put it out. I didn't even know they were working on it. They did it as a beautiful special edition where they have a sleeve, an outer O-ring sleeve that is different. You can choose to buy one or the other. That is different, but they had new artwork commissioned. This is a horror film from 1980 that stars Dennis Christopher from Breaking Away, and Mickey Rourke makes an early appearance. And it is a film about a guy named Eric Binford who works on the fringes of the film business at a film shipping facility where they're actually shipping film prints out. And he starts to slowly lose his mind. He lives with his crazy aunt. He finds a girl that looks like Marilyn Monroe that he falls in love with. And then he starts dressing up as his favorite film characters and killing people to take revenge on the people that have wronged him. It is a movie called Fade to Black. And Fade to Black.
You told me about.
I got it. Here's the beautiful artwork that they did. Awesome. And it's got that pulp feel to it. And again, this has a reversible sleeve. So the one sheet art that I actually had hanging in my bedroom growing up was this. And the ad line is, Eric Binford lives for the movies. Sometimes he kills for them too. And boy, I miss taglines. But you know, The Empire Strikes Back and Flash Gordon aren't the only movies celebrating their 40th anniversary. So thanks to Vinegar Syndrome, this limited edition of Fade to Black, a movie that I've loved for a long time, finally came out, and I'm very, very excited to have it.
So what I've got, Rob? Ryuki Moore, the versus.
Oh, hey, guess what? Guess what? Oh, look at that. Again, great minds think alike on either side of the world. That's amazing.
You got US version, I think.
I got the which one?
US version. I've got a UK version, but it's the same.
Well, it's Arrow, and again, the reversible.
Mine's not unpacked. You show it.
Yeah, well, one of the things about Arrow, they also put the reversible sleeve on. Now, this is new artwork that they commissioned for the movie, but then you've got. I mean, I don't know if this is UK artwork. This is different from the. I had this movie on DVD for a long time. This was going to be a sequel to Kitamura's Down to Hell, but then they made it as a standalone movie. This was done for a very low budget, but it's got a lot of verve. It's such a cool movie, and I'm happy to have this beautiful upgrade from Arrow. I pretty much it's come when Arrow puts anything out. They just announced they're doing Shane Carruth's Primer on Blu-ray, which is something I've always wanted to get, along with his movie Upstream Color as one box set. I mean, Arrow is just crushing it, putting out movies from all over the world that I want, and they're like the Criterion of genre cinema. So I'll buy anything that they put out, pretty much.
Definitely. You still got something?
I do.
One left.
I do. One left.
And considering this movie, Sabrina, my niece, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I'm always putting little bit horror stuff her way, and she doesn't like that genre. And I told her this is a nice trip to Sweden. I've got from A24 the Midsummer Director's Cut.
Oh, that is a gorgeous box set.
Which comes in this nice book here. The only perhaps downside you can say about it is that I think it has only the Director's Cut in 4K on it, so it doesn't come with the theatrical version.
I need to get that. You bought that from the A24 website?
From A24 themselves.
Yeah. Because
it was sold out, but they produced another bunch of these, and I had to get it. Midsummer the Director's Cut, and they put in this postcard from a movie with Stephen Yeun. Everybody knows from Glenn, from Walking Dead.
Right. They
had to check what is this movie. It's called Minari, about a Korean family looking to build a farmhouse, something like it. This was in the package too. So my niece was not so thrilled about this trip to Sweden.
Did she watch it?
Yeah, she was, but only the theatrical version.
Oh.
She thought it was a little bit sick.
Yeah, it is sick. It is sick, but maybe if she's driving a hard bargain. Oh, she's your niece. She's not Patrick's daughter. She's part of the Bastian family. Got it.
And horror is not her favorite genre, but sometimes I have to push her too wide to broaden the horizon.
But you could say this movie is really about the end of a not very fulfilling romantic relationship with a boyfriend.
Like Ari Aster says, it's a breakup movie.
It's a breakup movie. Yeah.
So this was my last from the stuff that I got this week. Rob, what have you now?
Oh, do I have something that I wanted to get from Well Go Entertainment? The 4-disc Ip Man box set, all of the Ip Man movies. Ip Man is based. Ip Man was the grandmaster martial artist of the Wing Chun school or technique, and taught Bruce Lee. And these movies at first are set between the Chinese-Japanese War, and then then they move up. There's 4 of them now, and these are in 4K. And this is like a beautiful cloth box, and you've got all 4 of the Ip Man movies in 4K. And I have to say, this is from Well Go Entertainment, and they give you one of the things that comes in this package is I won't unfurl it, but it's a poster, and the poster. The artwork it's really great, but it's too big to show. But it comes with a great book, a really nice book.
Nice.
And then, of course, I haven't unwrapped the discs, but you've got even the covers. This is what the Ip Man 1 is. This is the poster that it comes with. And it's just a beautiful... I went backwards. Well, there's Ip Man 4 and Ip Man 2... and Ip Man 3, obviously. And these movies are a lot of fun. My beloved Wong Kar-wai directed an Ip Man movie as well called The Grand Master. That's also worth getting. But I really like this series a lot. And Well Go sort of killed it. They crushed it with this release. I haven't opened these discs. I literally just, again, it was a disc set that I ordered that they couldn't give me a release date when it was going to show up, and they said it was going to show up December 30th, but then it showed up. And I'll tell you what didn't show up. I was supposed to get my 4K Arrow version of Cinema Paradiso, which is one of my favorite movies, and it was supposed to come on Friday, and then they said on Friday it said it had been delivered on Wednesday, which it had not. And I don't know where that went. I don't think someone stole Cinema Paradiso off my doorstep. So, like many things, who knows what happened to it? Around Christmas, with the state of disarray between COVID and our postal system, you put something in the mail, and you just never know where it's going to end up. So hopefully it'll show up.
There's still 2 packages on their way to you, but there is no movement at all, considering these 2 packages. But what can you do? It's the time before Christmas. It's perhaps insanity.
I just, in the 21st century, we used to have, COVID has decimated so many things, but I think the Postal Service, especially here in this country, has been crushed. I hope they come back, because I like the Postal Service.
Definitely. We need it, Rob, to get our physical media.
I know.
We need it from all over the world. We're dependent on it. So we've got a letter. Or did you have something else?
Nope, that was my haul for the week. What I didn't get, my Tremors and my Road Games are coming from Diabolic DVD. Who knows where my 4K Cinema Paradiso is? And the discs, the packages you've sent me, boy, I hope I get them, because we'll see.
But perhaps it will show up. Like I told you, I was waiting on this one, and it said it was delivered, but I didn't get it. And it was a neighbor here in my apartment complex who the postman put the package in his box.
Yeah, so maybe we'll see.
Wait a little. Perhaps it will show up. So should we get to the letter?
Absolutely.
Okay. I've got a letter, or should I say Rob sent me this letter, and it's from Mark Evans. And Mark Evans writes to us and writes, Greetings, Rob, Dieter, and the PGS community. Let me start by saying how great an idea this is. I love this show, and you both are doing a great job together. Well, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to each episode. A little on my physical media journey so far. I have the odd VHS here and there, but it wasn't until 2004, shortly after putting my first home theater system together, that I bought my first box set. Well, my first 6 box sets to be precise. It was a little series you may have heard about, Rob, called Stargate Sg1. Well, Rob, let me tell you, you and I park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay because you and I have not seen Stargate Sg1. Or am I wrong? Or am I wrong, Rob?
Au contraire, son. Let me tell you about what I did this week. So one of the tremendous blind spots in my sci-fi, televised sci-fi. So it's on Netflix now. And I said to Elizabeth, I go, you know what? Let's try Stargate SG1 because everybody is telling me that I should watch it.
It's awesome.
So we watched the pilot. By the way, no one told me there's boobies and bush. There's naked girls in this pilot. And I'd forgot the 90s when people were doing like the remake of Outer Limits. I thought the pilot was quite good. It's a direct sequel to the Stargate movie that Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin made. And since Dean Devlin is basically the executive producer behind the Inglorious Treksperts podcast, and they really got screwed when they sold Stargate, when MGM put it out, they had to give away all their rights. They have nothing to do with the Stargate television franchise that ran for over a decade. Between Stargate SG-1, Stargate Universe, Stargate Atlantis, it's a franchise that people made a lot of money on, except the people that created it. So maybe part of the aversion I had to Stargate was like, I don't want to support this stolen franchise. But I watched the first 2 episodes, and I'm in. It's quite good. And even Elizabeth said to me this week, she's like, maybe we should watch the rest of it. And I'm like, there's 10 years of it. I mean, some dense mythology. But so, no, listen, I didn't mean to go sidetrack the letter. Let's get back to that letter.
No, but I thought you haven't seen it, but now you have thrown me under the bus. Now I have the only one who have not seen anything about Stargate SG-1. So he writes, Encore, you have heard of it before, haven't you, Rob? Laugh out loud. My first movie was shortly after, which was the Star Wars trilogy. I did get a few more, including the Lord of the Rings box set, but put the brakes on further purchases when the HD Wars emerged, as naturally I wanted to wait until the dust settles before continuing with the winning format. So, Mark, it was you that died the red format. Okay. I will let it slide. Okay. Unfortunately, my collection plans lost out to my more cash-hungry Wait, let me do that again. Unfortunately, my collection plans lost out to my more cash-hungry passion, motorsport, and I never really took the time to continue until I happened upon the PGS community earlier this year. This channel provided a spark that helped rekindle my love for cinema and great TV. It's like it gave me the encouragement to just embrace the geek in me. With the additional nudge from not being able to do my other activities from the pandemic, mostly scuba diving, motorsport. Is Mark Evans a billionaire? Playboy by day, hero by night? I don't know.
Maybe he's the James Bond of our audience.
And forced into spending more time at home, I decided in June it was time to upgrade my home theater system, including going 4K. So in essence, I'm only just starting. I'm a newbie, but as you have mentioned before, now it is a great time to start. And this will likely be the end of upgrades as far as the media format is concerned, and it will likely not get any better than the 4K transfers we are now getting. Since starting in June, I now have 32 4Ks, and while doing the count for this, I'm just realizing that 12 of that came from Black Friday deals alone. Always good thing to buy something on Black Friday deals. Most of these are films that I loved, and a few I knew I would love, though. Yeah, even I haven't seen them yet. I've only ended up with one meh, so far from the blind or cat in the bag purchases, which was Gemini Man. My Amazon wish list is ever growing. My last purchase before writing this was the just released Mad Max 4K. Man, did I enjoy watching that. I had a huge smile the whole time. I so loved that movie when I was young. Nostalgia at its finest. Felt like a kid again, only now a 52-year-old kid.
Who does
My next
motorsports. He's
So
probably
that-
become Mad Max himself.
My next purchase will likely be Star Trek 50th Anniversary Collection. Okay, scratch that. I just bought the Star Trek 50th Anniversary Collection. While I was typing this, I got curious. Checked Amazon only to see one U for $78 plus $4 shipping, which seemed like a great price. Schnäppchen. So click. Of course, I love Star Trek, not post JJ though. So this is a big deal for me, and now I'm feeling a little shitty. Can't wait to have it in my hands. I'll likely pick up the TNG collection soon as well as buy my first models to go along with this. I have a few Eagle Moss picked out too. Or what I have started. Which brings me to my viewer request. How about doing an episode dedicated to the Star Trek you both have in your collections? Rob, I know you have some good info on making of some of these discs and worked on TNG discs, if I remember correctly, and hearing how you both came by them will be just as interesting. This would make a great episode, I think. That's all from me for now. Live long and prosper. Mark Evans. Well, Mark, the idea of a Star Trek show is definitely appealing to me. But do you really want me to put out that shiny Star Trek Discovery sets that I got to show it? And so that we get to 1 hour bitching and moaning, complaining about it. So I will leave that one, considering our Star Trek episode, out, but we can do other stuff. The original series, TNG. That episode we can do, Rob, I think.
Okay, I understand. Well, okay, Dieter, we've got some super chats and tips. People are firing in some super chat. And would you be surprised to know that the first person that sent us a tip was Willow Yang?
No.
Willow Yang says
she's always the starter.
She's always, and by the way, that's
The
not
fire starter.
She is a fire starter. She doesn't know what a firecracker she is. The thing about her though is, she is the first person that always sends in a tip for the show. She gets in way beforehand. So she says, "What is your definition of a Christmas movie? Does the movie just need to take place during the holiday season, or does it need to have a message or theme related to the Christmas spirit? Does Christmas need to play a crucial role in the story? What do you think?"
For me, it's almost just a setting. If it's around Christmas, it plays with Christmas stuff, so it has to be snowy. Probably it's not considering what's in the movie. So for me, Die Hard is a Christmas movie, or Lethal Weapon would be a good pick for Christmas too, something like that. Or Longest Good Night.
All of Shane Black's movies. I mean, Iron Man 3, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, they all take place around Christmas time.
So for me, it's more the setting of Christmas that come into play.
And Gremlins, another great Christmas movie. I don't know. I mean, to me, you kind of have to have both. A Christmas setting, like I don't think of John Frankenheimer's Reindeer Games as a Christmas movie, even though it takes place around Christmas. I mean, it's a kind of a thriller, a heist, kind of a criminal doing bad things movie, but I don't think of it as a Christmas movie. However, to me, Die Hard is fundamentally a Christmas movie because the whole point of the film, like, say, Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, it's about a man who is trying to get home to be reunited with his estranged family. I mean, his wife packed up, had a great job working for the Nakatomi Corporation. She went from New York and flew out west, came to L.A., started a new life, and he didn't want to move with her. And I think that they're not estranged for emotional reasons, but they couldn't come to grips with John McClane was a career cop in New York, and Holly Gennaro is on the executive fast track for a multinational corporation, especially in the late 80s. It was a big deal. So she took the job. She had to take the job, and I know it was a big move, but it was a point in a relationship where somebody had to compromise, and John McClane, because he's an iconoclast and I guess sort of old-fashioned, he did. He allowed her. She moved out. Again, he objected. She moved out and took the job anyway and packed up the kids and came out here. But it's not like they don't love one another. And John basically has come tail between his legs to reconcile with his wife. And it's about a man who wants to do that. Now, unbeknownst to him, the Christmas Eve party was when Hans Gruber and his merry band of brigands that we all know and love, basketball-loving Theo, a ballet dancer, and all the rest of them, and the guy from Living Daylights, they've all come and decided to attack the Nakatomi Corporation and steal $650 million worth of bearer bonds, and it turns into one of the great action films of all time. But the basic genesis, the story that's being told, is inherently a Christmas tale of a family coming back together, of love being rekindled, of a man seeing his wife that he loves and his kids that he loves, and that inherent. There's nothing more Christmassy than that. Now, just because there's a lot of instances of people saying motherfucker or fucker or I'm going to kill your ass and ho, 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 now I have a machine gun and brutal murders and helicopter explosions. Need more FBI guys, right?
Oder schieß den Fenster.
Oh, yes. Shoot the glass. Come on, I know my German. I mean, there's nothing more Christmassy than Die Hard. That's what I say. Although, I think it's a generational issue. If you try and show people that are, say, in their 70s or 80s, when the fucks start flowing, they tune out.
Definitely.
So Willow, there's your answer. Your friend Patrick Keller, the director.
My boss is here. Okay.
Your boss, Patrick Keller, is here. He's got a 2-part question. He says, hello, Rob. Hello, Dieter. It's an honor to write to you. I'd like to use the time to go into Mandalorian briefly. Who would have thought that Star Wars could still be saved? Since I'm a huge fan of soundtracks, I'd like to mention that Ludwig Göransson's doing a great job, especially with regard to the theme of the Dark Troopers. I wish you a good show. Keep it up. Greetings, Patrick. What do you think?
Greetings, Patrick, my boss. Nice to hear from you. And Ludwig Göransson did the score on TENET 2, which is awesome. That is one of the really plus points of TENET, the score.
Yeah, I mean, I love what he's doing on Mandalorian. I love that by using some wind instruments as well, not like the big brassy Star Wars theme, but he's brought more of I've Gone Native theme. You know, they're in the Outer Rim territories, and he's got that Western feel. There's a little bit of spaghetti Western influence in what he's doing. Yeah. I think he's knocking it out of the park, really doing a great job.
It sounds fresh to me. Sounds like something fresh. Cool hybrid, but fresh on his own terms.
Well, I think, one of the things that The Mandalorian is doing so well, like a lot of people are complaining. I see a lot of people that they're disappointed it doesn't have, say, the depth of something else. But to me, it feels like, look, I was saying this on the John Campea show, it feels like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are sitting at a table with all of these Star Wars action figures spread out in front of them, and they're playing with them, and they're like, wouldn't it be cool if, yeah, man, let's do that. And so it's a TV show that I think harks back to the 10-year-old in me. And I mean, Star Wars, after all, has never been the most sophisticated of storytelling. Would I want more depth from it? Perhaps. But, I mean, these are bite-sized, 30 to 45-minute segments where basically it's full of, it's like having a Snickers bar. Your favorite candy. It's got great chocolate on the outside, creamy nougat on the inside, and it leaves you with a big smile on your face. And it doesn't overstay its welcome. The last couple of episodes, I mean, man, they're kick-ass, and then they're done. And you're like, wow, that was cool. And maybe, of course, it's not War and Peace. I'm not watching The English Patient in the Star Wars universe.
Kevin Smith said exactly the same as you. It's like watching someone playing with his toys, but he's playing so good that you don't want to interrupt him. So let him play with his toys. He makes it as good as it can be. So you don't want to intrude.
Well, and I also think,
specific.
the idea that we've seen stories on like the Clone Wars and Rebels and Resistance that have been removed from the Skywalker saga. And I think one of the things about the Star Wars universe that was apparent from the beginning is that there's a universe. You don't just have to follow Luke Skywalker or his lineage or Rey and Kylo Ren to have an effective Star Wars story. I mean, there's a whole other universe out there with stuff happening, and people are surrounding what's happening in the Central Skywalker saga. There's millions of other people being affected by these events. So to see characters that were developed in the animated shows like Bo-Katan and other characters, and the new characters, they give us IG-11 and of course Grogu. I think they're really doing what we've always wanted, was expand the Star Wars universe beyond the Central Skywalker story. That was just one story, and now they're spinning off with Ahsoka, the new Rangers of the New Republic, the Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett. So we're going to get, as they said at the investors meeting, all of these stories that are going to converge. So you're going to have like a la the Avengers. It's going to be one long mythology, and I think they're killing it. I'm really excited where Star Wars is at and where it's going.
And since they wrapped up the season 2 so nicely, they have new ways to go with the Mandalorian, and that's for me is a big plus.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got one story. You've got Bo-Katan and the Darksaber and the Mandalorian. Are they going to go back and retake Mandalore? What are they going to do? And now Boba Fett and Fennec Shan are there. They've installed themselves as Boba Fett now, the Michael Corleone of the Star Wars universe. Has he taken over what the Hutts had, and the Hutts? I mean, I want to see that guy become the ultimate criminal boss in the Star Wars universe, and with Fennec Shan at his side. I can't wait.
It was nice with the after credit sequence. I almost missed it, but I let the credits roll because I was working on the artworks. Okay, we don't have any artworks. Okay, just let it roll, and then wait, there's happening something. So I almost missed it.
That was one of the great post-credit sequences ever. And me too. I was rolling here and I was kind of doing something else, just listening to the music. And then suddenly it goes black and it pops up and I'm like, wait, we're back on Tatooine? And then it pans over to Jabba's palace. I lost my shit. That was amazing.
That was amazing.
Echo Base Network says, do you think we'll ever get a Mandalorian box set? I want that, and thanks for trying to keep the physical media alive. What do you think, Dieter?
We do. We keep the physical media alive as long as we can. And since Mulan did get a release, why not Mandalorian? Why not? Perhaps if it's finished at some point, it could totally happen. I believe.
Yeah, the only thing that gives me pause is like, obviously Star Wars merchandise has been a long-standing thing, and they've released Star Wars a zillion times on physical media. However, The Mandalorian has been a huge draw for Disney Plus. It drove their subscription base. I think they're probably past 90 million now in a year, which is extraordinary, a little over a year. And I don't know if they would release Mandalorian because season 3, season 4, or however many seasons they're going to do is still a huge draw for them. Maybe if the show's concluded, they might. But as every year goes by, we're losing less and less ground with physical media. Or
perhaps
we're losing more ground.
We just released season 1 to see how good the sales are for one season, and then decide, do we do the other seasons too or not? That's this way.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, they have to give us a great special edition with special features. They really need to make it worthwhile.
So they could put in the Star Wars Gallery on disc 2 with the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
probably as an extra disc.
I absolutely think they should do that. John sends in a super chat, and he says, I've been watching SG1 this month, and I'm on season 9 now. I watched a lot of this as it came out. I love Stargate.
Nice. I can't compete. I don't have not watched Stargate.
There's so much to catch up on. I haven't even watched Tenet yet. I own it, and I haven't watched it just because I've been so busy. This week I'm still really busy, but I'm dying to see it. So
have you read the Bill Hunt review on Digital Bits about Tenet? Have you?
No,
but I copied the little part out where Bill told us, said, "Oh, the dialogue was really a little bit muffled," and he put in the subtitles, and even the subtitles said indistinct.
That's hilarious.
So even the people who are responsible for making the subtitles probably didn't have the script, so indistinct.
That's very funny. But that's not a good thing.
No, absolutely not, Rob. You probably don't need to put in the subtitles because they don't give you any further information.
Wow.
At one or 2 points.
Yeah, I object to that. I object to that. As the viceroy of verisimilitude, if you can't hear dialogue, if something happens in the production of a film, if the filmmakers deliberately allow dialogue to be obscured, that's a problem. Because suddenly whatever reality you've created, whatever verisimilitude's happening within the frame, it's been shattered. And I understand where Christopher Nolan is going with that. Like, if you're walking down the road with somebody, if I'm walking the dogs with Elizabeth and she's in front of me or I'm in front of her, and you're talking out and somebody's behind you, they can't hear you because the sound is not, you're not hearing the actual sound. You're just hearing almost an echo. That's a problem. You have to turn around and go, what? So if you have to do that when you're watching a movie, well, that's really a problem. So,
especially on a movie like Tenet, where you really want to focus to get every puzzle piece you probably need to understand it correctly.
Yeah,
but you will see it for yourself how it comes across on your system.
No, that's absolutely.
Better. But it is always with the gas mask that gets the muffled sound. So, but it was really funny when Bill wrote in his article, I put in the subtitle and it said indistinct.
I'll have to read that when I watch the movie. 200 Watt Studio sends in a super chat. Thank you so much. Oh my God, Rob, SG1 is fantastic, especially the later season 1 through season 8. You're going to love it. The 3rd episode of season 1 is not great, but the rest of the series is fantastic. Enjoy. I'm really liking it. I really like the series.
Is it in HD on Netflix?
I don't. Well, the show wasn't made in HD, so I think it's not. It doesn't look horrible though. It's still very watchable.
Okay.
Yeah. Although, that's a good question. I didn't remember it being that way. I just knew it was 90s TV, so they did the post production on tape. Maybe they up-resed it to HD. I'm not sure. But, it doesn't look as crisp as a regular. It certainly doesn't look as good as The Mandalorian does.
Is it 16 by 9?
No.
At least?
No.
Okay.
No, yeah. Because back then, it just wasn't that way yet. They weren't shooting. It was still 4:3 American television.
I always forget how old even Stargate is.
Yeah. Yeah. Our friend Throg, today he is Vito Corleone Throg, sends in a tip and says, way disappointed in Coppola's latest screw-up to an already dreadful film. I just don't know what else to say. Also, Train to Busan Peninsula is one of the most original zombie apocalypse films in decades. It's a great genre mashup, quick and pleasing. Have you watched Peninsula yet?
Yes, I have, Rob, and we've talked about on our show.
I know.
I think it's episode 6, but both Rob and I were a little bit more disappointed with the movie. Why, Rob?
There's no verisimilitude in it. I have to say, I love Train to Busan. Train to Busan was one of the great surprises. It was a movie that sounded good to me, and I tried to see it in the theater. There's a lot of Korean theaters here in Los Angeles, and every time I tried to go, something came up, and I actually went to see it one day, and it wasn't playing anymore. And I was like, damn it. I was able to see The Wandering Earth in the theater here. That's a Chinese film, but it was great to see finally to see Train to Busan, which I love, but Peninsula is like a totally different movie. The great thing was, I mean, I love Korean cinema, especially the last 20 years. There's been so many great Korean movies, including, of course, our Best Picture winner, Parasite. But the genre cinema, Bong Joon-ho was making Memories of Murder and The Host, and there's just been some wonderful. The Old Boy, I Saw the Devil, or not I Saw the Devil. That's a different movie. Not I Saw the Devil. What's it called? Maybe it is I Saw the Devil. But there's just great stuff. Great Korean films. And Train to Busan was trying to, the Peninsula was, it felt like it was trying to be an American action film. Yeah. And I'm like, I understand why they're doing it, because they wanted to be a global blockbuster, but it sort of removed what was unique about Train to Busan. I really felt like you're watching the story of a guy, he's got his daughter and he's going to work and he has to take the train. And it was just the way it unfolded. And you'd think the zombie genre had nothing more, nothing new to show you. And it certainly did. And boy, I loved it.
Yeah. But Peninsula was a little bit more than a little bit disappointing, considering the CGI. But okay. But he liked it. And he mentioned the Godfather 3, the new cut, in his super chat. His tip. Have you seen it, Rob?
I did. I did. And let me tell you, he's right. Now, I've been a big fan of Francis Coppola's gone back and he's been revisiting his movies. He did a third version of Apocalypse Now called Apocalypse Now Final Cut that's actually quite good. I still object to the plantation sequence being in there so late in the film, but what he did was great.
It's a little bit between the theatrical and the Redux version.
Yes, and I think it's a compromise. I think it's better than Redux. Redux, in that movie, of course, the mantra "never get out of the boat." They get out of the boat way too much in Redux, but in Final Cut, I thought it was a pretty great compromise, and it's a terrific version of the film. I still think ultimately I might prefer the theatrical. If he had done a version of the theatrical that had there's a lot of little bits in Final Cut, little bits of dialogue that I think are great. And that's all they really needed to add. The French plantation sequence kind of kills the momentum of the movie, but I love Final Cut. But even more, when Coppola revisited the Cotton Club this year and Cotton Club Encore came out, that's wonderful. Cotton Club Encore was great. He had to cut out, the movie The Cotton Club had all the scenes at the Cotton Club and all the dance numbers were cut out of the film. And part of the thing about, you had the gangster story that was juxtaposed with the story of all the black performers at the Cotton Club, a club that African-American members of the community couldn't even get into. They couldn't even come see the black community perform. And yet they added a lot of those musical numbers back, and I think it's wonderful. So I was really excited for Godfather 3, the restoration, but now it's called Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. And I am a Godfather 3 apologist. I think, look, yes. Everybody says the same thing. Sofia Coppola is not good in the role. Yes. There is no Tom Hagen, which is a fatal flaw in my opinion. I get it. But what is there? The story of Michael Corleone's redemption and what he wants to go legitimate. I love that storyline, and the ending is shocking. And all they did with Godfather 3, because it was what it was. He sort of reimagined things. He shuffled around the order. And in my mind, it kind of really bothered me, because one of the things I did like about Godfather 3 is it mirrors both how Godfather 1 and 2 begin at a party. And in this case, it's a party for Michael Corleone receiving a papal award. But now they begin with a scene that comes later in the film originally, and they've moved it up to the front, and it seems like it's a little lackluster. It's a little haphazard, and I think that it wasn't nearly as well done as Final Cut or Cotton Club Encore, and to me it was a disappointment, because I like Godfather 3, and I thought that there were scenes we hadn't seen before, and that wasn't the case, and I was disappointed.
Okay.
John also sends in a super chat and says, the version of Oh, wait. 200 Watt Studio says, Rob, the season sets of SG1 DVDs are 16 by 9 and they're not zoomed in. I did a comparison of the 4x3 streaming versions and the 16 by 9 versions were not zoomed. Well, that's interesting. Maybe they went back to the original negative.
Good to know. Good to know.
That's good to know because I would much rather, I'd love to get the DVD versions in 16 by 9. And maybe, they might have protected, because they knew that 16 by 9 TVs were coming, widescreen TVs were coming, even before HD with the DVD realm. So maybe they did do that. Interesting. John goes on and says, boy, people with Stargate 1. John says, the version of Stargate 1 on Amazon Prime looks way better than the version being aired on Netflix. I'm not sure how they achieve it. Hang in until season 1, episode 6. Okay, I will do that. That is so far. Those are the super chats. We are caught up on that. So
okay, Rob, we still got our German lesson to do.
Oh,
for
yes.
This show. But before we do our German lesson, I've got a movie that I found when I put out the special editions to give you some evidence that Saarbrücken really exists. And it's curious. It's The Fault in Our Stars, Rob. And if you watch the extended edition, it's only in the extended edition. They had an airport in Netherlands, I believe. And when you look at the board of the departures, flip, Saarbrücken. Saarbrücken.
Wow.
Two times. With Paris, New York, and all that great cities. And you can read Saarbrücken on the departure, but only in the extended cut of The Fault in Our Stars.
How many years, Dieter, of looking for this kind of evidence that your town really exists did it take you to find this?
I was really surprised when I watched the extended edition, and what was this? Wait, what was there on the board, on the departure board? I couldn't believe it myself, Rob. But you can find the evidence in The Fault in Our Stars in the extended edition.
Was that only released in Germany, or was that released around the world?
Oh, this is the US version, Rob.
Oh,
it's a totally. Now I've forgotten how the German title is, because in Germany it's totally different. It's titled totally different. But a real German lesson is not really German. It's more of a saying in my county. Every county has its own slang. Like Texas is a little bit different than yours. So this is really a Saarland thing. And considering you give us always on a movie set, one thing has to be good so that the cast and crew is satisfied. What is this point that you always give us, which has to be good on a movie set?
Food.
Correct, Rob. You say the catering has to be good. And this is a really saying in Saarländisch. It goes, Hauptsache gut Guess.
Hauptsache gut Guess?
Yes. And this is translated, I would translate it, the main thing is to have eaten well. So if you haven't made all the shots on this day and you're behind schedule, behind budget, but if you have eaten well, since the catering was good, you can say, Hauptsache gut Guess. So the main thing is to have eaten well. The rest is secondary.
Well, that's probably good advice for life in general. If you've eaten well, if something bad happens, well, you've eaten well, so that's okay. There's something good about that. By the way, Throg comes back. Throg is not happy. Our boy Throg, and Throg's hooked me up too. Throg got me the Lord of the Rings steelbooks I was after. But Throg now says he is Jean-Claude Van Throg. He says, "Come on, man. Not all films need a sense of verisimilitude, but I understand that complaint. If you like Versus, which, come on, Versus verisimilitude is completely lacking. I disagree on its merits as a great indie film. I thought it should have been much better." Wait a minute. Are you saying that you thought Versus should have been much better? Or you thought that Crane to Busan, if I understand you think Versus should have been much better. Versus was made for like $10,000.
That's the difference.
I mean, it was made for 2 cents. And the fact that so when I watch, here's something that people talk to me about a lot. They're like, well, Rob, you're always talking about verisimilitude. How do you like films that have none? And I'm like, well, because to me, more important than even verisimilitude is authorship. Like, what was the intent of the filmmakers when they were making the movie? And I think a movie like Versus, I don't think verisimilitude was in Kitamura's at the height of what he didn't walk on a set and go, well, fellows and ladies, we're gonna make a movie that's so realistic that, I mean, come on. it's
if you can cock your gun with teeth, that's just cool.
Yeah. I mean,
should you do that? Probably not. But how cool was that?
It was very cool, and I think that and that's the thing. It depends what you are looking to do. I think, like, what is it? What is your intent? I'm always interested in the intent, and I think Versus, they did what they wanted to do, and hence that's why I've bought it multiple times.
And considering Versus, how old is this movie, Rob? Versus?
Oh, it's over 20 years old, isn't it?
Yes, almost. So around. Wait, let's check it.
It's 2000. It's 2000.
2000. Yes, correct. And 2004 was Ultimate Versus. So Peninsula is a little bit younger, I would say.
And they had a lot more money.
A lot more money.
More than $10,000.
It would, if there was one or two driving sequences that had some shitty CGI, then okay. But it was every driving scene.
Yes.
Almost every.
Well, that's another thing. I really, look, driving scenes, rear projection with green screen compositing has gotten so good. But I also do like to see, the thing about Train to Busan is it felt so real. You're just in the middle of I think it was Seoul. Are they in Seoul? You're in Seoul, and you feel like you're in a real train in a real Korean city with real Korean people. So, in Train to Busan, even the lighting, everything felt like you were on a set. It didn't feel like you were in the real world very much, and that's because they, and the driving scenes just added to all of that.
Definitely. Okay. Rob, special editions. But who goes first?
Well, I don't know. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
Yes, but I got many because even if it's only the 7th episode of our show, I'm a lazy slacker, Rob, and I say it's Steelbook time, but to make it a little bit more interesting, I have, I think, 12 Steelbooks from our beloved MCU, and everybody loves rankings, so I try to do a ranking from worst to best, and the 2 last Steelbooks I will show, if I would make a Steelbook overall, these 2 last Steelbooks would be in a top 10 overall as well. So this is not a movie ranking, this is a Steelbook ranking.
Ooh.
So Rob, let me put out this doesn't count. This is a German Ironman Trilogy 4K, but the 4K transfers, as far as I know, are not that great, because we don't forget sometimes that at the beginning the Marvel movies were not under Disney; they were under different studios. So this came out under Concord,
Paramount
here, and Paramount in the US, correct. So this doesn't count, just to show this Iron Man Trilogy. So the worst Steelbook for me, we say the design has always to play in it.
Right.
And Rob, how can it be that the most successful movie has the most disappointing Steelbook?
I have that, and I agree.
Yep. Considering the Hulkbuster is not in it, Thor, it's more like Infinity War. Everything is stark in here. So for me, this was really, considering the design, it's not extremely bad, but considering what comes up next, for me, Endgame is unfortunately the worst of the Steelbooks from the MCU. I don't have all movies as a Steelbook, and I think I didn't find Winter Soldier. I'm sure I have Winter Soldier, but I didn't find it. The next one, strangely enough, for me is Infinity War.
Right.
Which is
I have that too.
I have that too, Rob. It's okay. And I like the people don't know the German lesson from episode 6. Außen hui, innen pfui. nice on the outside, ugly on the inside. It always plays a role. How good is the inside of the Steelbook 2 in my ranking?
Yeah.
So this is okay, but there are some better insides coming up the road. So the two most successful movies for me have the most lackluster considering the design of the Steelbooks.
Yeah.
Next one, going up the ranking. Which one is quite alike is the Captain Marvel because it has a little bit of that different cover.
Yeah, that's cool. Although
that's
it's
cool.
interesting that these movies sort of showcase the environment rather than the character front and center. I mean, it's cool that she's in a flight hangar, but that doesn't exactly scream dynamic.
No, not really. But it was one of the only ones that uses this cover. It's always the packaging. So we have Captain Marvel. So the next one. This is not too bad. It's really simple, but it's a little bit down the road still. The first Avengers.
Right. See, the first Avengers, that's cool.
It's embossed here.
Yeah, I like that.
It's simple, but it's still good, I would say. But the inside is a little bit, okay, there were 3 discs already. Okay. This was first Avenger, the first Avengers movie. Then, now it's getting better. This was Iron Man 3. And the front may not be that particularly with the sub that is embossed.
Yeah.
But I really like the back of the Steelbook. And the inside was the Tony cave, I would say.
Yeah, that's cool.
So this is Iron Man 3. Steelbook. So, up the rank, we have Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah, that's
Don't
a great
push the button. and I like when the German comes with this outer slipcase, so the Steelbook is a little bit
protected
from it. Do not push. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and it's embossed here. So this was a nice near Steelbook. We're getting up the rank. I like this really, but it's not embossed something, but it's really slick. The Black Panther. Steelbook.
Yeah, that's really cool too. Yeah. See, I love that. That's beautiful.
And this one has, for me, a nice inside with the characters, Wakanda here.
Yeah.
So it's außen Hui and innen Hui too. Nice on the outside and nice on the inside. So this was the Black Panther steel. The next one, really like this one, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, that's really cool too.
So we got Wasp on this side.
And what's great is if you have the metal and you're going to have that reflective surface, yeah, that's really nice. See, that makes really good use of the medium of the Steelbook.
Correct. You said it.
Really nice.
Ant-Man. And considering Ant-Man and the Wasp, to throw in something a little bit in between, a Korean edition from Ant-Man and the Wasp, Rob, was this one.
Wow, look at that. That's tremendous. I love boxes like that.
Inside, it's just a standard MRA, but it's not all, Rob, as always. We have huge character cards here. We're in it, I think, 5, 6, 7 character cards. And a little bit of production book. And Rob, would you believe it? It's in English, not in Korean.
Well, that's good.
So even I can read it.
I mean, look at that. Look at how much more time and effort they spend on these releases than we get. I mean, in America, we don't get hardly any of that anymore.
So this was the Korean special version of Ant-Man and the Wasp. So, but continue in our Steelbook ranking. After we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp. Wait, didn't any ring wrong? We've got Doctor Strange.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Agamotto, that's embossed here. And the back side. And the inside continues.
Yeah, that's very cool. And, as we've said, one of the great things about wanting premium packaging is it honors the experience. If you're a fan of that movie, to have an artifact like that with the actual movie in it, it just gives it a prestige of something that you like. So that's, I think, the reason buying steelbooks, why we do it, is because it just is added value to something that we already care about, and it shows that the people that made it and the companies that are putting these things out, they care too. They understand that there's a prestige value to these films that goes beyond just, it's not just a movie, it means something. So you get a great steelbook. I love that.
The only minus for me, it's missing Scott Atkins here on the cast.
Why don't you explain for people who don't know who Scott Atkins is?
Well, Scott Atkins is I would say, B action movie star who's mostly doing martial arts movies like back in the 80s, 90s, and he has this field almost to himself because no one else does such kind of movies anymore. But sometimes he gets small roles. He had a little role in the Catherine Bigelow movie,
Zero Dark 30.
Zero Dark 30, and he was, I think, in one of the Nolan Batman movies.
Oh,
Had a little role in it, but I could be wrong about it. He always gets some small roles in it. So the next one, we got to the last three. So at number 3 is Civil War.
Yeah, come on. Look at that.
Civil War. And of course,
yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
No, and inside, okay.
Yeah, that's outstanding. Or as they like to say, Avengers 2.5.
2.5, correct.
Avengers 2.5.
And I remember the steelbook from Winter Soldiers would be around here at this place, 5 or 6, I think, also. So we've got 2 left, 2 of my favorite steelbooks of all time. The first one, Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta love that.
Edition. And on the side, they even have play, stop, forward. So this is really, the idea of this is for
kids today are like, what is that? What is that?
Yeah. So this is the Guardians of the Galaxy steelbook. Let's check how the inside is always also.
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. So Rob, you in great America with 50,000 streaming service, where can I watch Guardians of the Galaxy 1 in 3D with opening aspect ratios, shifting aspect ratios? On what streaming service?
I don't believe that you can, Dieter.
What? On non-streaming service? Your Honor, I rest my case for physical media. And the best drop, almost on the same level as the Guardians of the Galaxy, is the first Ant-Man. It doesn't look that much, but it's made like it's a solid state drive. Don't know if I can show it here. It says SSD here, solid state drive. You had the bullet hole with the Ant-Man coming out. So it looks like it's an SSD drive, 1 terabyte.
That's hilarious. I mean, you know what? I love it's conceptual as far as artwork. I love that they dreamed that up. Wow. Yeah, scooch that. Look at it. Oh, it's on the inside. Yeah.
So from like you said, the conception, you've got the bullet hole here, and Ant-Man coming out, and it says SSD, 1 terabyte, solid state drive.
That's really clever.
So this, from the conception, I thought, awesome.
That's amazing.
And it too is in 3D with shifting aspect ratios, I believe. Oh no, wait. First Ant-Man, not the second one. I was wrong. The first one is already in 185:1, the whole movie. So this is really one of my favorites from the concept and from the idea of it.
Yeah.
That's great. That's my favorite, the first Ant-Man, in the same ballpark as the Walkman design from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So this must be a steelbook time here, Rob. What do you got?
Well, let me see. Okay. Now, you know that I love my Studio Canal like 4 and 5 disc sets. They started doing it with John Carpenter movies. They put out They Live, Escape from New York, The Fog, and Prince of Darkness, and they're 4-disc sets, beautiful 4-disc sets. Then they did it with things like The Deer Hunter and Kind Hearts and Coronets, the Ealing Studios movie, and they did it with Total Recall, but apparently they made very few. Now this is a very new special edition. I think it's the best that they've ever done, and you can't get it unless you pre-ordered these. They are gone. I don't know if it's because they don't make very many of them. Now there's other iterations. Arrow does a version of this. They did 2 versions. They did their special edition and they did their basically single version. But this is one of my discs of the year. Certainly one of my special editions of the year. And I'm going to switch to my camera here to show this to you. To celebrate the 40th anniversary of Flash. So here is, this beautiful, and this is very that hard matte finish. And if you look, this is one thick special edition. Now, this is the 4K, and it is, yes. And so, you open it up. Ornella Muti is one of the most beautiful women to ever appear in a movie. And you've got Ming here, but I cannot tell you how you open this up. I can't even, it's so chock-a-block full. I can't even, it comes with, okay, so not to be outdone, you have a cloth patch that you can put on a jacket of the Flash logo. And it comes with an ad for the sound, or you can buy more swag that doesn't come in the box. But then it comes with a book. This book's amazing. This is the original comic book adaptation of Flash Gordon. So that Alex Raymond did. So you can actually see the pages. So this is the original Flash Gordon. It comes with another book with the official story of the film with Alex Ross art. And it's, again, it has all kinds of artwork from the film, Prince Voltan. It just, and it goes on and on and on. Here, let me get, and not to be outdone, here's a poster of the new artwork that's on the cover. It comes with a recreation of the lobby card set here. So, again, and now if I can, let's see, now that I have everything, it has the documentary. So, this is amazing. So here, it opens up. This is how big the package is. So you've got it like that. And if you were a fan of this movie, and I should have put the discs all facing the same direction, but here are you got the soundtrack album here, and then it's got the documentary. It's got all the special features. This special edition, they went all out. And if you love Flash Gordon, this is the final word. This is where Flash Gordon winds up, as we've talked about on this show. The great thing about the 4K releases is once you've gone 4K like this, there's no need. Flash Gordon has made its 40-year journey from the screen to finally the 4K restoration on this amazing Studio Canal packaging. And again, I just love having these things on the shelf because this box is so big. You don't have to have it like in your collection. You can have it sitting on a shelf outward with that gorgeous cover. I love this. This is so cool. And the poster of this comes with it, and this foil embossing. And now let me just say, you had pre-ordered the same kind of version for Paul Verhoeven's Total Recall. And I thought, I have you got me also the Lady Killers that Studio Canal did. They did the Elephant Man in 4K, which I picked up, and you open it up. That's an amazing special edition. I thought for sure I could get the Total Recall set. Oh, but once again, Amazon pre-ordered. You got it in for me months in advance. They canceled it. They didn't get it. I've been buying these from Amazon UK because of COVID. They couldn't ship them to me anymore, and you were getting them for me. But on the Total Recall and the 5-disc set or the 4-disc set, I got screwed, Dieter. Amazon let me down.
and I have no idea how much they produce from this kind of
Not many.
editions. I have no idea how
And
the
and
numbers
Total
figure.
Recall, that version is now selling for over $200 online. And I just have to. They also did like a 4K version of Oliver Stone's The Doors, which I also picked up, but it's not in that. It's not in one of these 4-disc sets. But I was very upset not to have Total Recall. But what can you do? I mean, these are definitely first world problems.
So you've got the 4K disc, but not the special editions.
No, I didn't even buy the Steelbook.
I've looked. Sometimes I've looked if it's if it's come available again, but no, it doesn't.
Well, now listen, we've got some more. People are still firing in super chats.
Okay.
And Mark Evans, whose letter you wrote, Mark Evans says, "Cheers, guys! Happy Physical Media Sunday."
Thanks.
And Michael T from High Desert Comics sends in a super chat and says, opinion on the CP genre. That would be cyberpunk genre. Philip K. Dick and William Gibson. And of course, don't forget Neil Stephenson, because I think that one of my favorite books I've ever read in my life was Snow Crash, and sort of the follow-up, The Diamond Age. I'm a huge cyberpunk fan. How do you think it's been handled by Hollywood and the video game industry? What can improve it? That's actually a good question. You have Cyberpunk 2077, right?
Yes, I've started it this afternoon, but I'm still, because of all the controversy with the graphics, I was hesitant to start it, but I have only just begun, so
You've only just
created
begun.
a character. But at the moment it was nice. Did run fine for me, but I'm only 1 or 2 hours in, so I can do a final review of it.
No,
But,
he's asking, like, the whole genre, like the whole beginning. I mean, we saw it film. It goes back to, I mean, people usually credit William Gibson in his first novel, Neuromancer, which came out in '84, but Blade Runner predates Neuromancer, and if you really think about it, you could almost go all the way back to Fritz Lang's Metropolis, the German film from 1927, with Maria. I mean, that's more robotics, but cyberpunk, there's Colossus, the Forbin Project from 1970, and really, I think the idea of, I think the cyberpunk genre is more about the information age. It really started to grow around where were computers going to take us, with tapping into systems like whether it's computer technology or interfacing with the human brain or virtual reality. Shows like Black Mirror are very much cyberpunk. What do you think of the cyberpunk genre as a whole?
I really loved it, but I'm not the perfect expert, perhaps. And I even liked the Ghost in the Shell live action movie. I did like that. And I don't know, Alita Battle Angel, can we address that in to this genre?
I think absolutely, because you're dealing with transhumanism, and I definitely think Alita Battle Angel is a cyberpunk.
So in
movie.
one of the next episodes, I will probably show some additions considering Alita Battle Angel and Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, and Altered Carbon. I really like the cyberpunk genre.
Yes, you're right. Altered Carbon. That I really. The first season was great. The second one, and I really liked the animation movie that they put out on Netflix. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, I think, all good science fiction, Brian Aldiss, the writer, said that science fiction, I'm paraphrasing, is dealing with how technology is affecting human experience in our confused state of knowledge. And I think we live in a cyberpunk world. I mean, right now, America, we find out, is being hacked by the Russians since March. They've entered into all kinds of different systems that we have here, and we live in a cyberpunk world. So, and it's going to become more that way. I mean, the interesting thing is I think cyberpunk is a collision of where we are technologically, the advancement of human technology, but how we have not advanced morally and ethically. Blade Runner was about the fact that we've created replicants, basically manufactured humans, and we haven't come to grips with what does that mean morally and ethically to us? What does it mean religiously? What does it mean spiritually? And I think really the heart of the cyberpunk genre is about retaining our humanity in a world that is completely wrapping us in technology, where technology and becomes more important than even our very souls. So how do you retain the human soul, the human spirit, when our technological advancement has run away from us? And I love the cyberpunk genre.
Yeah, definitely.
So Indie Throg sends in a tip and says, give me $10,000 back then. Where I live, we could have done it. I always felt that even 20 years ago. Boy, Indie Throg, you are not a fan of Versus. Come on, did you like Evil Dead? I mean, you got to start somewhere. I mean, if without Versus, we wouldn't have Midnight Meat Train. So, Special Effects Throg goes on to say,
the only thing I will say, I have not seen Versus in a long time, so I'm really looking forward to seeing it again.
I know, me too.
Refresh my memory.
Yeah, but Throg might be right. Special Effects Special Effects Throg goes on to say, Peninsula felt like a fever dream when they were driving for me. Effects didn't bother me at all. I loved it and thought it was done creatively, something I thought missing completely from Versus and laughable, but to each his own, I guess. But Versus is not trying to be Peninsula. I mean, I think that if you comparing and contrasting Peninsula and Versus, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I think Versus is always going to lose because, I mean, Versus, it's a zombie movie shot in a forest, and all they can do is have people cocking the guns with their mouths to make and wielding swords and all that. So, look, I understand Versus is an extremely low budget movie, but you can see the beginnings. There's a lot of verve and wit and gonzo-ness, but I wouldn't compare and contrast them with Peninsula.
Peninsula should totally only compare to Train to Busan.
Right. That's right. Exactly. Anonymous sends in a tip. This is a good question. I have a Blu-ray player that says 4K upscale 3D Blu-ray. Will that play a 4K disc? I suspect not, but I haven't tried. If you only have a Blu-ray player, your Blu-ray player would say, if you have a 4K player, it's a 4K player. Does a 4K player, my 4K player does support 3D, but I don't know if it upscales to 4K. I would imagine probably not. Are there any true 4K 3D discs? I don't think there are.
No. What's strange to me is why does the Blu-ray player can do an upscale on 4K but won't play 4K? This is a little bit strange.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you had a 4K player, it would say 4K on it. It would. You can't. I mean, maybe, but it's strange. 4K upscale. I don't know. I don't know if I would want a 3D image upscaled. I would think that would affect the 3D.
Possibly, but perhaps if you have a 4K TV and the scaler from the TV is perhaps not that good as in the player, perhaps some sort of this hybrid. But it does only 4K upscaling, so it will play 4K discs. But just check it.
Yeah.
I
he also Anonymous goes on to say, could you recommend a good economical 4K player? Thanks, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you both. If you want economical, I mean, I think, look, I would go with the name brands like Sony. You can't really go wrong with a Sony player. You can find some cheaper Sony players. It really depends. I mean, you want to have a 4K player that is, I think, it really depends on your TV. Like, do you have if you have an LG OLED or my dreamy Panasonic OLED, because LG makes all of the 4K OLED displays in the world. But if you have a really good, you want to make sure you're like, if you have Dolby Vision capable, HDR10 plus or whatever, that you have to get a player that supports that as well. And for me, you got to go Dolby Vision. And the difference between Dolby Vision and other HDR is that standard HDR sets one level, and whereas Dolby Vision is constantly shifting the levels for optimal impact. So, but then again, not all discs are Dolby Vision. So, what you want is you want to be able to be capable to play all 4K discs. So, but my son. The only thing I don't like cheap players because they just feel so disposable. Like they're not going to last long. I mean, I'm still a guy that like I want $1,000 Panasonic, or the Oppo players that you can't get. Yeah, a Pioneer or Panasonic. That's what but those aren't economical.
It all comes down to the budget. How much will you invest it, and how many discs do you buy? So it should be a level on the same page.
Yeah.
If you only buy 1 or 2 4K movies a month, I would say you don't need to buy a $1,000 player. I would say.
No, I think you're absolutely right. It really depends. Well, this is by far our longest episode that we've ever done. It seems like it doesn't seem like it was longer than any other episode we've done, but it is.
Time flies. When you're talking about physical media.
Well, yes, and I still owe episodes 5 and 6 are coming. 5 will be probably up later today, and episode 6 will be coming.
Have to do a TENET pincer movement. Go back.
Yes.
Time to finish these two episodes.
but they're still just as entertaining as if you think we're entertaining, they're just as entertaining. They're just a little bit more produced. But
considering the special editions, it doesn't matter when we show the special editions. It's just the normal stuff that has come out is a little bit backwards.
Yeah, but if you still see it, and since we're covering worldwide releases, it's all over the place. So it's fun. Well, listen, it's been fun, meeting you this year. This if we're going in chronological order, this would be our 8th show that we've done.
Yeah.
And it's been, one of the joys of this year has been meeting you. I think we'll do one more show this year where we cover there won't be another show next weekend because of the Christmas weekend, but we'll record a show for the end of the year which will cover our favorite releases of 2020. And then we'll do that, and then we'll start up again in the new year. But it's been a lot of fun doing this with you and starting the show. People seem to like it, and at least our small devoted audience likes it.
Still collects or like collecting.
Yes,
or even pure streamers if you can watch.
Pure streamers can watch, but no, it's been so much fun. And I think one of the byproducts of this whole COVID experience and being locked down is, in a way, I feel like you and I have spent more time together than I have with people I've known for years and years and years, doing these shows and just talking to you offline and things like that.
And it was great for me that you said that even I rekindled that love. It hasn't gone away, but once in a week you always get that existential crisis. Why do I collect? Why do I buy this stuff already? But I rekindled that kind of passion a little bit again. So this was great for me. And like with the letter from Mark, if we can push some other people too to start collecting.
Yeah, well, I've noticed that there's a lot of like younger people who have started to collect. And I'm seeing little forums pop up. There's people on Reddit talking about how they're getting into physical media because now we have generations of kids who have grown up mostly with streaming and cable and home video on demand or whatever, and they didn't buy because it was already on the down. If you think about it, if you were like 8 or 9 in 2010 and you didn't even realize that you could collect, because why would you? You're watching cable and stuff, and now you've got that generation. If you were born in 2000 and now you're in college, you're in your second year in college, maybe you're studying film, and suddenly you realize that, I want to see these special features, and I realize the picture. I'm tired of things getting hung up when I'm streaming. You've got a new generation of younger people that are coming up that are following in the footsteps, and they're like, ooh, the Criterion Collection, and they're really, I think there's a new generation. It's never going to be as large as it was, but it's interesting watching younger people get into, I guess we'd call it a hobby or collecting these things. And They're realizing the benefits of physical media, and it, if you don't realize, when you hook up a surround sound system, a decent surround sound system to your, not just a sound bar, but sound bars are good too, but sound bars do a pretty good job with streaming shows. But if you if you have a large system, big speakers, a great subwoofer, and you hook up some physical media and start playing some 4K discs, they'll blow you away. And that technology is on the disc. And most people don't ever avail themselves of what's already there. But if you get a decent sound system, and I'm talking not little speakers, but some real presence, and you crank that up, man, it'll blow you through the back of the theater.
Wait till you hear the Yellow Dolby Atmos edition.
Oh,
it will rattle. It will rattle. Even considering that we know why Christopher Nolan mixes these movies this way, the sound is still awesome, even if it's only 5.1. Why Christopher Nolan doesn't use newer stuff like Dolby Atmos, I don't know, but his 5.1 mixes are always great, even if it's lacking verisimilitude, or it has verisimilitude considering what was he saying? Wow, okay.
Right. Right. Well, I think Christopher Nolan, in a way, he's sort of old school. He's still like shooting on film, and a 5.1 mix is easily manageable. When you've got Dolby Atmos, I think, and all this stuff happening, maybe the sound it has less verisimilitude because you're doing more to it. And he wants to create, what would it sound like in a real environment? And, when you have sound coming up from top and below and around, I mean, even that is kind of like the real world, but you've still got the what it's like to see a movie in a cinema. And sometimes it can be a little too much, I think, depending on how it's done.
Could be.
Well,
okay.
On that note, I want to thank our moderators. The Richard is here, Justin Toner is here, and Joshua Levesque is here. From our team here at the Burnettwork. I want to thank them for being here. Thank you, gentlemen, for moderating. I also want to give a shout out to Jason Spriggs for doing our overlays, Mr. Raygun himself. And I also want to thank you, Dieter, and all the people that support this channel via super chats and tips and sending us letters in. You can go to the Burnettwork.net website and send us letters. There's a place to click on them, and please put in the subject matter, the subject headline, "Let's Get Physical Media," or just physical media, so we know it's for the show.
Okay. Live long and prosper. PGS community, thanks for being here. Start collecting, but don't venture into this junkie territory. Keep it steady.